Headshot, a 2016 action drama thriller, stars Iko Uwais from the Raid films fame. He plays a young man who washes ashore, an amnesiac with a serious head injury whose past comes back to haunt him shortly after being nursed back to health by a young doctor. Islan is her name, and she's played by Chelsea Islan, and she is well, for me, I know her from the May the Devil Take You, both films. She's a very good actress. In this film, she really does deliver a great performance. But Iko Uwais is the headliner here. Not only his acting, but also, of course, his martial arts. We know him for that. And this film really is a film that hits on all targets, whether it be drama, action, thriller, a great martial arts film, as well as a great thriller. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. I like the dramatic touches. I like when you see, you know, Chelsea Island and Iko Uwais interact. You can see a great, emotion come out of both of them. They really, truly are there for each other as friends in the beginning. And there's even a part where even if he's an amnesiac, doesn't know what he is, what his name is, what really anything about his life, and pretty much tells her, hey, what if I'm a bad person? And she smiles and says, you're not a bad person. So he goes off to Jakarta to remove some particles from his head. He was shot in the head by actually one of his former associates. He didn't know that at the time, and find out that these him along with the pursuers, the ones that are sent to kill him, because apparently the job wasn't done the first time, so they sent these guys after him, and they're actually, child mates of his that he grew up with, and pretty much were kidnapped and forced by this guy, Mr. Lee, who we see in the beginning of the film, broken out of jail. An incredible scene, incredible sequence where how they got him out of jail. And he pretty much trained them, reared them, and even at one point kept them in a well and had them like starve, no water, no food, nothing. He throws a bottle of water in there, and you see all these kids just pretty much tear into each other and pretty much kill each other for that bottle of water. A few of them survive. I believe, he found out later on, but he did carry out one child. I guess the one that survived, or maybe the one that pretty much was the. I think a few others did survive, but a bunch of them, didn't make it out so well. But let's talk about, the fight sequences, which I always look for in this type of a film. And it's something that delivers on a raid-like tone. I don't know if Iko Uwais choreographed this. He choreographed the raid films. And of course, Pencak Silat is the Indonesian Indonesian martial art. That's the name of it. And very unique. They use knees, elbows, joint manipulation, and very brutal. I love the style of that martial arts, and it really does adhere very well to the cinema. There's some martial arts that probably really don't look good. You've tried it before, and it doesn't really look like it belongs. You can accept it and go, yeah, that was pretty good. But it's like, I think that the Indonesian martial arts style is like, it really does lend itself. And if those of you who are about, like I've said about the night comes for us, that film, it's like if you're about bone breaking and joint manipulation and twisting people's arms and snapping them and all that stuff, seeing joints being, bones being coming through skin and all that, man, check this movie out. It really is quite an amazing feat of what they did in order to bring it all to the screen. I love the fight scenes, especially the one that he had with those two bald dudes. Uh, their names here, uh, uh, Tejo and Tano, who gave him quite a fight. It was in the police department where he was being questioned, and all of a sudden, the one by one, the lights go out. One by one, these police are all getting wiped out, all along the lines of them trying to kill him. And he takes on these two dudes, and you see a little flashback of them smoking and drinking and having fun because they knew each other, they worked with each other, and then oftentimes you see that flashback of this girl named Rika, played by Julia Estelle. She was in The Night Comes for Us, and see her shoot him in the head. Uh, Ishmael, Uwais' character. Well, that's the name that he came up with when he came out of his amnesic state, but his name is Abdi. And apparently, she didn't really kill him. She didn't kill him. He fell into the water, in the ocean, wherever, the docks. That's why he washes ashore. And that fight scene in the police bar is very brutal, very like just intense. And these guys were going for broke. I mean, and a lot of it is just sheer, like I said, it's just sheer brutality. I really, really like that type of martial arts where it's just all out. Just you're trying to kill the guy. You're not trying to pussyfoot around the subject. You're trying to take him out. No time for talking, even though there are times where these guys were doing that. Makes you wonder why the guy shoots one dude, one scene, right? One part, he shoots him, and then he puts the gun down, and starts talking to Iko Uwais' character. I'm like, oh, you just shot him. This was actually this is when, this was during the time when a bus, those two dudes, two bald dudes, Teo and Tano, right? And they shoot up everybody on the bus because they're looking for Abdi, and then another guy shoots this one dude who he's on fire, and then he puts the gun down, and tries talking to Abdi, and then then you know what I mean. Like that's the one time where I got questioned. I go, why do you guys do that? Just kill the guy. Just shoot him. Your purpose is to kill the guy. You don't have enough time to talk. When I watch it, I'm like, why are you talking? Why are you talking to the guy for? Just shoot him. But then again, what would happen if what's his name? If he wasn't he was shot and killed, then there would be no movie, right? He had that one, and then he took on Bessie, was another mate of his growing up, and they had a great fight. He did something at the end where it's what I love is just a quick transition of just the punches and kicks, and when there's a time when he's like caught in a chokehold or something, and he can't get out, and he's doing this and he's going like this, and he's trying to manipulate and position himself so that he can get out of it. It's weird. It's just so cool how he does it. And that was part of the final scene with Mr. Lee, a father figure, so-called. For a while, I was wondering if that was his father, but he's actually the father of all of them. He claims to be. And then he hits him. He gives him a fatal blow, and no blood comes out of his mouth. It's like spit. It's like all white. And then he kind of wanders off, and he sits down near a log on the beach, and then he's just he dies. Abdi is very, very despondent because that was a buddy of his. He grew up with him, and he really didn't want to kill him. But then comes Rika. They have a great fight too, and it's like she's blaming him. Why did you kill him? Like you turned your back on him and all that stuff. And like he had no choice. The guy was pretty much set on serving his boss, his father figure, whatever you want to call him, right? Mr. Lee. And then they have a fight together, him and Abdi and Rika. And then in the end, she kind of looks, she's kind of like changes her mind. She's about to shoot him. She has a gun in her hand. And she turns it to the side and starts shooting. And then Abdi's like blocking, going like this, kind of like, thinking that he's getting shot up. And then out of reflex, he, flings his knife and, it sticks into Rika. She gets stabbed and she dies. And he didn't want to do that. It was just a reflex, And then when he meets up with Mr. Lee, at the end he asks her, "Did you kill? Where's Rika? Did you kill her?" And then they have, to me, what is, and I always say this. I've said this about a number of things, but this goes right up there with best fight scenes that I've ever seen in a film. It was just pure, just mayhem, abandon. These guys really went at it. I like the Mr. Lee because I think he was using a tiger style because he had his hand like this and he was doing movements. And I studied Chinese Kung Fu when I was younger, so I kind of recognized it. I mean, I could be wrong, but it looked like it. And he really was trying to, rip at him. Like when he had there's a wound on Abdi, he would go like this, and he would just tear, he would just rip down like he's trying to make him be in all kinds of pain, like, and it's just quick. You go with Weiss, man. His movements, his arms, his punches, his kicks, his blocks, his parries, all that stuff, so quick. So quick, and he was going move for move with Mr. Lee. And Mr. Lee was getting the upper hand. He had a lot of strength in his hands. And he would always get him in a chokehold. He would try to choke the life out of him. And these guys really had something with banging someone's head against the wall. Every fight scene, it seemed like that's their go-to. Like they would do that, and the guy would get knocked out. And, and I'm just thinking that if these guys come out of this fight scene, come out of it, they're gonna have some serious concussion issues, man. And especially Uwais when, later on, I mean, jumping the gun, but he does end up killing his father figure, Mr. Lee, very brutal fashion. They end up outside. There's a branch, a big old tree with a branch that's sticking up, and he ends up being impaled, Mr. Lee, on it. Now he appears to die, and then Abdi's like, he's relieved. He's like, kind of puts his head down, and then he gets grabbed by Mr. Lee, and he's pulling him forward. And you think, this is it. He's gonna join his Mr. Lee in the afterlife. And then, Islan comes in and she pulls him off and saves him. And then Mr. Lee dies of his of that impalement. He succumbs to his fate. Then we see him later on in the hospital. She's recovering, and Abdi is still not out of the woods yet. Still on hooked up to all kinds of tubes and stuff, and she's being very emotional. She's telling him to not take as long as 2 months. Please come out of it. She's very, very teary, very sad, crying, and then all of a sudden, she has a little tablet that has the name, and she puts Abdi, and then she's like, she erases it. She puts it down right by his hand, and hand starts moving. And then he goes, "How about Ishmael?" She looks up, and then she smiles. Apparently, he's gonna abandon his former thing of being Abdi, and he is gonna accept himself as Ishmael. There was a little girl that survived that van massacre. Her mom got killed, so apparently she's gonna end up adopting her. But it was nice, a nice touch, and nice to see Chelsea Islan's beautiful face be the one that you see at the end, smiling. And I gotta tell you, man, I really do. Between Tara Basro and her, it's a toss-up. Who would I, what I mean? Who would I date? Who would I like to spend time with? You know what I mean? Like, who would I like to go out on a date with? Who would that be? Is it Chelsea Islan or But they bring a certain something special to their roles. These guys, all of them really are great actors. All of them really know how to evoke emotion. Not one bad actor in the bunch. No over emoting. No trying too hard to be mean. Some people think that all you gotta do is growl, and that you're a mean guy. And if you're a girl, that you're a damsel in distress type character, you have to, and the guy who's the hero has to do that posturing and stick their chest out, and I'm just there's none of that here. These guys are very good actors. I forget that I'm reading subtitles. It's like I'm understanding what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, and this movie really was good, and I'm just so glad that one of my subscribers is always there to suggest these films, and I would not have known about this if not for that great that one subscriber of mine. Very very loyal when it comes to my channel, and this person suggesting these films. And for those of you who see this video, check it out if you haven't. It's an old film, yeah, it's 2016. But then again, we all end up, finding some gems that you never knew about. You take somebody that we meet, someone who co-workers with, or even a family member, or something like that will come along and go, hey, have you seen this film? I think you'd like it. And you check it out, and you're like, God damn, where the hell was I? Where was I when this film came out? But I should have gotten into Indonesian films more because of The Raid. I love The Raid. Haven't seen part two. I intend on watching it. But just based on that, and based on this film and the horror films from Indonesia, they're just so amazing that I'm going to try to soak all that up. Let's try to get into it. Try to, I'm trying to get into it and try to, try to just get more into watching these films, because they truly are they're just amazing. They really are an amazing way of just finding something different that, just don't settle for watching films in America or a film here in this country or that one. Just explore. But I love Asian films. I love the martial arts films, the horror films, the action, even drama films. They're good. Indonesia is something special. I mean, I love their way of filmmaking. They think outside the box. It's not the typical way of filmmaking. They really approach it in a different way. And I couldn't say enough, praise for this film. It's truly great. It's a hard hitting action, drama, thriller. All those three genres of films is just perfectly done in this film. Story is great. I like the nuances. I like how they were able to blend together the drama with the action. It doesn't look like it's jarring. Like there's a drama sequence and then all of a sudden an action sequence for no reason. You're like, why did you do that? Stick to the drama right now and then go to the action. Here it's just like there's a little bit of drama here, and then you move to an action, and it actually works and it blends in. That's a good story. That's a good way to tell a story, is to be able to blend all that together. And it does it. They do it very well in this film, Headshot. And it was directed by people called the Mo brothers. The director of this film, it's like Timo Tagento, right? I guess, yeah. I'm trying to remember, because sometimes I'm not good with pronouncing names sometimes, but he really is a great director. He directed the May the Devil Take You and the May the Devil Take You 2. His brother also directs this film as well. I don't know his name at the moment. I could look it up, but yeah, sure, why not? Let's see, give him credit, right? Sure. It's like Kimo Stumwell, and Timo Tagento are they are brothers. I was told by my subscriber, and yeah, they did a very good job. And we have a lot of there's a lot of brother filmmakers that are great in America as well. And sometimes it takes two heads are better than one kind of thing. Their ideas blend. Sometimes one person can handle this part, and then the person can handle this part of it. So they come together, and it really does blend well. But anyway, that's my recap and my thoughts on Headshot, 2016 film starring Iko Uwais and Chelsea Islan. Very good job on their end, and everybody else as well. A few people kind of came over from the Raid films and joined Uwais in this film. So that's pretty cool. You know, when you have a good chemistry with certain cast members, why not bring them over and bring some of that magic from the Raid films over to this film? But anyway, that's my video. And for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.